Good morning, everybody. I got 9 o'clock on my end, so we'll get rolling here. Thank you, everybody that joined. Just a reminder, there's a lot of people on this call. If you could keep yourself muted, that'd be great. But feel free to turn your camera on. If anyone on your job site for Foreman are not able to make this meeting, again, it's recorded and will be sent out on our Foreman email chain, and will also be posted on our YouTube channel if you'd like to watch it later, or if you want to share that information with the Foreman that couldn't make it to this meeting, that'd be great. So we got a lot of information passed along since our last meeting. That was last month. So we'll get right into it. For recordable injuries since last month, we've had 3 recordable injuries. We've had 6 injuries, but 3 of them being recordables. All 3 of them requiring stitches, so they were all lacerations. One of them was actually in prefab. Somebody had tripped on an ergo mat, one of those rubber mats that you stand on for better ergonomics. Tripped and caught his hand on the corner of wall track, which anyone that's worked with that stuff before knows that's sharp, very sharp stuff. Then another one we had was a forearm got slit working above ceiling grid, and anyone that's been around for a while knows there's so many sharp things above a ceiling grid, and you can't see up there. So a gentleman was up there pulling low voltage wiring, and he cut his forearm on the side of a exit sign bracket, which came with the exit sign. They have very sharp edges on them, and it cut them very good, pretty deep. The third one we had was the other day. A worker was leaving the job site and was walking off the job site and tripped over some rigging equipment for a crane. They were the big, thick shackles, and fell, split her knee open, and needed stitches. The big takeaway from these 3 things is being aware of your surroundings. I know it's very minuscule and low-hanging fruit to say be aware of your surroundings, but it's cost us a lot of injuries in the past year. Take the time, and I think Turner has a really good policy. I think Gilban uses it as well. It's kind of a reminder. They call it the 20-20-20. Every 20 minutes, take 20 seconds to look 20 feet around you. It's not a bad idea. Be aware of your surroundings. Take into consideration that things change every few minutes sometimes on a fast-moving job site. Another takeaway from these injuries was the last one specifically, with the worker that was leaving the job site. There was no clear delineation of where you were supposed to walk out of that job site, of how you're supposed to get out of that job site. There's a lot of moving parts. There's trucks, there's cranes, there's cement trucks, there's a bunch of tractors. There is no clear paths. And if that's the case, that needs to be brought up to the GC. They are required to give us clear paths of egress to the site, and it's supposed to be marked out. So if you're running into those problems on job sites, if you're not getting a good answer from the GC, call me, call your PM. We can talk to them as well. Normally they're pretty receptive to that. Sometimes the GCs miss that. Things change, especially on those large jobs. They might have a path set up, and then one superintendent had it moved for their crews to get in there, and there's lack of communication on their end. So bring it up to their attention. Like I say in every meeting, they hold us to a standard. We have to hold them to a standard as well. Another thing that we've been talking about a lot, due to incidents with and run-ins with OSHA, is testing circuits. It is a requirement to test circuits before touching them. That's in our safety manual. It's a requirement. Now, there's been a lot of talk about tick tracer versus using your multimeter. So tick tracer is a fine piece of equipment. I wouldn't put my life on it. I'd prefer using a meter. And what we're going to start saying now is if you're going to be contacting a conductor anyways, say you're going to be taking a box off, you're going to be taking wire nuts off, you're going to be touching conductors anyway, use your meter instead of the tick tracer and test at the actual conductors. Now, say if you're just moving a temp wire, moving stringers, something where you're not going to be contacting the actual conductors, tick tracer is fine for that. But I would like you to pass on your crews to use your meter. If you're going to be actually in contact with anything that's a conductor that was once energized, use your meter. Takes a few extra seconds maybe to go grab it from the gang box, but it should be used when you're going to be coming into contact with actual conductors. And we'll be talking more about that soon. Probably pass out a toolbox talk to kind of reiterate it and talk a little more about it. Because I'm sure anyone that's been around for a while is you drop a tick tracer, or you get a little coffee on it, or fell in the snow. You don't want to trust that thing that much. They're a great piece of equipment, but not as good as a multimeter. Speaking of toolbox talks, everyone that's been using Safety Meeting app, thank you for participating. I know people don't like change. But it is a big change. I think it's a good app. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from it. There's a lot of information on there. And once you do it 2, 3, 4 times, you get used to it. And it's a good way for us to easily have documentation of all the toolbox talks. And again, it seems minuscule having toolbox talks, be a topic of conversation all the time. But 3 times this year, OSHA has asked us for toolbox talks. One of the first things they'll say is, can you can you show us the training records from this job site, meaning toolbox talks? And can you show us pre-task plans, that the ones you guys fill out every day? These things do matter and they are important. So thank you for doing them. If you don't have access to Safety Meeting app, please call me, so we can set you up an account and I can show you how to use it. And please, if you do have an account and haven't done your toolbox talk this week, please check your library on there or your meetings. There's one that we set for you to discuss our new safety violation and discipline policies. And it's a brief toolbox talk. And if you or your crews have any questions about it after the fact, please call me so we can discuss it. I don't want there to be any questions after those toolbox talks or, beyond me answering them. So please, if anyone does have questions or comments about these changes, call me or call your superintendent so we can discuss them. I believe Sean Leahy may have something he would like to discuss, Sean.
Hey, Jason. Yeah, I think, first, you did a great job covering the testing piece of that. I know a lot of guys have tick tracers out there, and a lot of kids use them, and they're a good tool to have in your pocket. They don't take up a lot of space. So, but another thing to remember too is, like, we don't do a lot of this. Most of the work we do is we're putting a pipe, we're pulling circuits, we're roughing things, but it doesn't really expose us to a lot of those situations. So, when you are working on a crew or your crew changes gears and now you are getting those exposures, make sure you're bringing it up at their daily pre-task plan and go over the fact that they can use a tick tracer to get in the ballpark or do some troubleshooting. But as soon as you're getting ready to expose yourself to a live conductor or what could be a live conductor, they got to use their meter. And I know there's a lot of situations, and maybe not a lot of them, but a number of situations that it could be difficult to kind of get access to that bare conductor to actually validate that it is dead. And that's why that tick tracer gets so handy, because you don't have to strip anything, you don't have to cut anything, but you have to find a way. And if you get into a lot of trouble, a lot of these situations come up with this MC cable, right? You're into the point where you're cutting in light fixtures or whatever, and that cable, if you want to test it, you can't, the tick tracer ain't working. What are you going to do? We've had a number of incidents where guys actually got it right through the chest, cut, strip, pull, and put themselves in a lot of trouble there. So we don't want that to happen again. We don't want to put ourselves in the situation. So if that happens, then you're in that situation. You let the guys know. It's like, tell me, and we'll find something out. We have to shut the whole building down on a Saturday. We'll shut the whole building down on a Saturday, or we'll get the appropriate PPE to make sure that if we do have to strip a piece of cable and find ourselves in that predicament, we're not going to get hurt. So, have those conversations with you guys, though. Make sure they understand the difference between what they can use a tick tracer for and what they can use, what they need to use a voltage tester for. The only other thing I had was, it's cold out there. We got a lot of jobs going right now in the weather. So guys have to, make some choices to stay warm. And I just don't want that to preclude PPE. So you need to enforce that with them too. It's like, whatever choices they make to stay warm, they can't avoid wearing PPE. So glasses, hard hats, and the right gloves have to be on. And you guys have to help them find a way to do both. So I know it's a lot to ask, but do your best out there. That's all I got, Jason.
Thank you, Sean. Next meeting will be February 27th, same time. It'll be not a quarterly meeting. It'll be another one of the monthly Foreman safety meetings. So keep that on your calendar. If it's not in your calendar, reach out to myself or Dock Control so we can add you to that. And if anybody, again, needs access to the safety meeting app, please email me so we can set you up an account and go over how to use it. That's all I have, guys. Thank you for joining, and have a good rest of your day.